Well, this is probably the most depressed fan from Louisiana over here.
Yeah. Is this Dave from Louisiana? You calling again from behind enemy lines?
Oh man, you don't know how bad it was. Oh Lord, have mercy. I had to eat a lot of crow. I had to eat a lot of crow.
Did you
But
have to did you have to put on like one of your relatives' LSU jerseys or anything like that?
no, I didn't have to. But a buddy of mine who's an LSU fan, he had one of the little Alabama VooDoo dolls,
Oh
and
yeah.
I grabbed it from him, ran outside, and threw it in the fire. And boy, I ain't never seen somebody run so fast trying to get it out of there.
Wait,
I was
no,
trying
let
to.
me ask you. At what point did you do that? Because did you do that like right when Tua fumbled? Because that might have caused Tua's first quarter fumble.
No, I did it right around the onside kick try.
Oh
I was
yeah.
trying. I was trying to break the curse. I was trying to break the curse. Oh man!
Oh yeah.
But it was it was a very interesting game, especially in the second half. Alabama started putting it in gear. Tua was hiding the injury.
Yeah.
He looked good. But at the same time, after the game was over with and you seen him limping off of there, he was really hiding a lot of it. Because if Tua would have been 100% or even 90% per se, he would have never slid for that first down. Because Tua is not the type to really slide a lot. He'll take a chance, to try to get a first down. It was that interception that Bama had, and they had 12 players on the field. That hurt us big time because that could have turned it around. Oh man, it was just a very disappointing game on my part. I mean, I'm not going to say per se 100% disappointing because they came back, clawed back, fought back, lost by 5 points to the best team in the country. I mean, I hate to say it, LSU is by far the best team in the country, but it took 408 weeks or 2,861 days of practice and preparing for LSU to finally beat Alabama.
What'd you think?
That's a long time.
What'd you think of Coach O's antics after the game? I mean, he's just completely. He was full of emotion, so to speak.
He was full of emotion. We see it a lot of times, especially in a big rivalry game. Miami, Florida State. Florida State will come out there and they'll spear, Miami's you or whatever. But, to hear him say this is our house, it made me want to take a ride down to Baton Rouge and, just jump over the fence and take a big old dump right on their tiger eye or something, I mean, I take this stuff seriously, I mean, just like any other Alabama fan. And, today I was on Facebook and, you can't believe everything on Facebook, but if it's true, where these guys were tweeting last night about they wanting to fire Saban and this and that and the other. I don't know if this is some fake Bama fans, or whatever, but there was a post, where they were talking about fire Saban and da-da-da. How can you fire a man who has turned a team around that struggled back years, for a long time before he came, and has lost very, very few games since he's been there since, golly, I mean, why would you want to fire a man like that? I can understand if it was Chad Morris at Arkansas over there or
He
something like that.
Yeah, he
but
already got fired.
yeah, he got
Right.
fired and got let go.
Yeah.
So some of these guys that call in, I love watching football. I'm not the big guru, I can't read the zone plays, but some of these guys that call in that can, talking about nickel package, dime package, or whatever. Hey, there's y'all job opening. Y'all might get in because some of these guys knows what they're talking about. But there's always next year. I got 364 days of grief. And it really hit me hard. I was hoping Bama could have pulled it out, and there was a lot of plays or a lot of penalties that should have been called that was not called. That face mask on Waddle, That was just, man, there was two refs right there. I mean, watching, and not one flag come out. Not one flag come out. And that just kind of, I just was like, okay, did LSU buy these guys off? Because they always say we pay the refs off. It was a good game. Props to LSU. Joe Burrow will win the cursed Heisman Trophy and go to the pros and probably be like most Heisman Trophy winners. Not all of them, but a majority of them, and not be that great,
Dave, let me ask you this, Dave. Should Alabama get another opportunity to play this LSU team? Can Alabama beat LSU?
Oh, my God. Man, on December the 8th, if things go like they're supposed to, because I don't see – now, this is my personal opinion. I might be wrong, but I don't see Saban playing Tua next weekend. I don't see him playing the next week. I see him playing in the Auburn game, or he might let him sit down this week. But if Alabama can go undefeated, go without losing the game rest of the way, and somehow Georgia loses, to LSU in the SEC championship, I don't see how Oregon or anybody could really jump Alabama. Yeah, they say you got to have the strength of schedule, blah, 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 this and that and the other. Well, my goodness, they lost yesterday by 5 points. They were down by 20 points at halftime and fought back. Yeah, the defense was kind of, on their heels most of the game. They had some sacks here and there. Like you said, they had 7 hurry-ups and, 5 sacks in the game. But I really do think if Alabama can play LSU one more time in the state of Louisiana, at New Orleans Stadium, in the Sugar Bowl for the national championship, I think this team will finally have clicked on all cylinders in their head, in their heart, and on the field, and it could possibly turn out that Alabama upsets them back over here at the end, next year in January for the national championship if things go right. Now, I don't know how well Ohio State really is, I mean, I don't watch them guys up there. I don't even really – I watch the SEC, It's going to be interesting the rest of the way through. Ohio State could stumble and fall and lose a game and drop out, of the top 4 or 5. But what happened yesterday, hands down, that is the 2 best teams in the country. I can't say that Ohio State could have played LSU that close. I can't say they could have played Alabama that close. I don't know because they hadn't played them yet. But Alabama and LSU yesterday proved, without a shadow of a doubt, that they were the 2 best teams in college football at this present time, even though Alabama lost by 5 points. And I was hoping they'd have got that onside kick, could have went down, and I don't know why they didn't run Najee Harris more than what they did. I mean, he was 7.5 to almost 8 yards a carry.
Yeah,
It was it just blew my mind because whenever my buddies were sitting over there, somebody break his leg, and I'm like, no, shut up, man. I don't wish that on Joe Burrow or nothing, but they were like, get him out of the game, and why can't y'all just keep him in the game, And if we had them guys from last year, back, this would have been a whole different game. Our pass rush was way better last year with Quinnen Williams and all them on the line, and it just breaks my heart that they leave so early, especially like this. And now, what if? Now, this is a hypothetical. Now, I don't see it happening, but what if Alabama doesn't make it? And say Judy and Ruggs and Smith and all these guys and Tua says, hey, we're going to go one more. We're going to come back our senior year, Well, how do you think that is even feasibly possible?
No,
Or
no,
fathomably possible?
no,
I mean, I
no.
don't see it either, but I wish it could happen, But
No,
I mean, I don't
those
see it either.
guys. I mean, Alabama fans are lucky if those guys, don't. If Alabama doesn't make the playoffs, I'd be curious to see how many of those guys play in the final bowl game. Right? If they're not playing
Yeah,
in the playoffs or the championship, I'd really be curious to see which guys with high draft grades play in a bowl game. I'd also be curious to see which bowl game Alabama goes to if they don't make the playoffs. Could it be?
yeah.
Could it be the Sugar Bowl
Oklahoma.
versus Oklahoma? Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you're talking about a ratings show. I mean, who wouldn't want to see that? Don't
You
put
ain't
it
lying.
right. I mean, and I'd be curious to see which guys would not play in that game. But I think all those guys that have high draft grades, especially on the offensive side of the ball, are certainly leaving. You're not going to have Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Tua Tagovailoa, Alex Leatherwood, Jedrick Wills. I mean, all those guys, Najee Harris as well. All those guys are gone next year. And, we'll have to see what the offense can do. I mean, throughout these last couple years, these last couple seasons, Alabama's had one of the most prolific offenses that we've seen really up until last night, because I think LSU obviously proved that, they can go head-to-head. But I got to run to another call, Dave, but I appreciate you calling in and, survive in advance in Louisiana. We'll catch up with you next time.
All right, brother. I'll be still rolling tide over here. That's for sure. Y'all have a good one, man.
All right. Take it easy. All right. I'll, Dave in Louisiana. I'll take one more call and then